Okay, Esteban. So what we're gonna do? oh, we're gonna go over 10 questions that I had a few people ask.
Okay, sounds great.
Totally
Let's do
not
it.
AI generated.
No,
No, definitely
that's
not.
not.
Okay. So this one's from a 23-year-old. He's a beginning bodybuilder. How did you structure your training split when you first started prepping for? Oh, this guy thought you did classic physique. So Esteban does not compete in classic physique. He does the 212.
Yeah, that's true. But actually, you know what? There are not so much difference between the training styles because on the classic physique class, you want, of course, gain a lot of muscle mass. You want to be like very well developed competitor, so you have to work every muscle on your body. The only thing is that there's a difference between weight, like body weight on that day, but I think they should work uh, like every other bodybuilder, you know what I mean? So I think there's not a big difference between these categories.
Okay.
Talking about
So what would a split for a bodybuilder look like? Say you were 23 again.
mhm.
You were just starting out. You started when you were 20.
Okay, that's something important because if you're starting your fitness journey or bodybuilding journey, whatever you want to call it, uh, there are some things you have to consider if you are a beginner in this world. First of all, you have to uh, spend enough time like learning the movements rather than focus on the weights or probably the intensity. If you're a beginner, you have to focus on your movements. What does it mean? It means like you have to learn how to proper do the
Proper
movements.
technique.
Exactly.
So
Proper
say
technique.
for if they're a beginner, if they were doing a squat, you would want to learn how to do that properly.
Exactly. Especially if you're trying to learn a complex movement like squats or deadlift, those exercise that requires a lot of muscle groups, you know. So those exercises are more difficult to learn. I mean, like to do them properly than, for example, using a machine or something like that. And that's a common mistake because you usually see people in the gym training and doing those complex exercise in a wrong way.
Incorrectly.
Exactly.
So you would recommend they do like their basics, they do their barbell rows, their bench press, squats, deadlift type of thing before they move into like say machine chest presses.
Okay, I'm not saying that you have to focus on those exercises, but you have to learn those movements because you know
Okay.
a squat is not just perform in the gym. You do a squat if you are going to, I don't know, take
Wash your
something.
hands in a river.
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking about.
I see what you mean. Yeah. Okay.
Or if you are gonna take out a rock from the floor or something like that,
You're gonna pick your kid up. You're gonna squat down.
exactly, or do a deadlift, something like that. Those are more like natural movements, and if you want to progress in your career as a bodybuilder, you have to learn to do those exercises correctly.
Learn the proper biomechanics for your body, especially. So if you squat,
That's another thing.
that's another thing.
Because the movement will look totally different between people because that depends on the anatomics of each person.
So his anatomy, he can squat with his feet pointing forward, for example, we'll just say.
Yeah.
I have to turn my feet out like this when I squat because if my feet aren't out like this, I am at more risk to tear my meniscus, which has happened before because I had my feet like this. I don't know why, but it's my limb attachment. So if squatting feels very uncomfortable and someone is telling you, keep your feet straight, but that is uncomfortable, you don't have that range of motion, turn your feet out. Just figure out what range of motion is right for you. And like he's saying, learn your compound movements, your basics. I'm going to give my take real quick. If you're a young bodybuilder, you're like 23 years old, you're just getting into it, man, just put on as much size as you can, because I know guys that have went on like a 5-year bulk, and they come out on the other side much better than the guys that are bulking for 6 months, cutting for 6 months, bulking for 6 months, cutting for 6 months. Stick to one thing. I would honestly recommend 2 years at least. It's the mistake that I've made. I bulked and cut too much. It messed my organs up doing that. Just putting too much pressure and stress on your body at such a young age and when I didn't need to. For you, you're a pro. You can bulk and cut twice a year. You're supposed to. That's your profession. But for someone like you or me, stick to one thing. The longer you stick to a certain program, the better off you'll be.
Yeah, that's
beginning.
Exactly.
Beginning. Not as a pro, just as a beginner.
Yeah, that's actually true, but let's address something that I considered is actually very important. Please don't when you say that you have to stick like doing one process like bulking or cutting, yeah, you have to do it and it will take time, but we have to consider that that doesn't mean that you are doing that process like linear, because life doesn't work that way. You know, nature doesn't work that way. It has to be a undulatory process. You know, if you are cutting, of course you need to be on a calorie deficit, but it will look like, if you are doing correctly, it will look like undulatory. You know what I mean?
So do you mean like you'll hit like plateaus?
Exactly. It doesn't mean that you have to be like on deficit and after that cut more calories and after that cut more calories. And
no.
And same thing with the bulking. You're not adding more and more and more and more calories, because that's not the way nature and human body works. You know, so it will be better if you consider like a undulatory approach to do those processes, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're getting up to, say you weigh 185, you're 5'8", you weigh 185, you're at the end of your bulk, and you're like, I don't think I can go up to 4,000 calories. You don't have to go up that high. That's not what I'm saying by bulk for 2 to 5 years. What I'm saying is avoid the trap of competing too much while you're an amateur. When you compete too much as an amateur, it gives you less time to grow your body. And it gives you because we know when you're cutting, you're not going to grow muscle.
No.
Especially when you're an amateur, you need to grow that muscle. You can't be going always, 2-3 times a year cutting. So that's all I mean with that. But you make a great point of how life will get in the way, and you're not going to just be able to bulk straight for 2 years. You might have to hit a maintenance or like a 4-week mini cut sometimes. If you're getting a little out of hand, catching a little fat, you're not seeing the abs anymore. Same with when you're cutting. Cutting, you don't really need to do, what would you say, longer than 20 weeks?
Yeah, probably. It depends on the starting point. If you had a lot of fat mass, of course it will take more than if you had less fat at the beginning of the process, But yeah, probably 20 weeks sounds good to me. But remember, do it like ondulatory.
What does that mean?
It means that you are doing first. For example, you start cutting your calories. Of course, you need, if you want to lose body fat, you have to be on a deficit, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know that. But it doesn't mean that you're gonna cut your calories, and after a while you're gonna cut again, and after a while, and do it that way the whole process. No, you probably will need a time to do. I don't know. You can use like some strategies like refeeds or things like that to give
You care
your
to
body.
explain a refeed?
Sorry?
Could you explain a refeed?
Yeah, a refeed is a period of time where you raise your calories, especially from carbohydrates, and the thing is that increase in calories is actually measured. It's not like a cheat meal that you just go out and eat whatever you want. No, it's increasing calories, but it's controlled.
So you would measure, say, let's do 500 extra calories of carbohydrates today.
Yeah, but it depends on the amount of calories you're eating per week or per unit of time. It could be done weekly. That I think is the best way to do it.
Doing a full week of refeed?
No. I'm
total
saying
calories
that,
throughout the week.
Exactly. So you have to know how much calories are you eating. So that's a refeed. But yeah, the main idea is that it's not a good idea to do it like deficit, continues the deficit from the beginning to the end of the process.
Okay.
You have to sometimes stop and increase a little your calories and things like that.
Okay. So you're not going to do one consistent thing throughout your cut or bulk. It's going to vary. You're going to need to add refeeds. You're going to need to add
refeeds, diet breaks.
Diet breaks especially.
Yeah,
that's a good one that people don't consider.
There are a lot of strategies you can take.
So we completely went off of track of this guy's question. What workout split would you recommend for a guy in classic physique? All right, my guy, what I would recommend. I'm not a classic physique competitor, but what I do know is a bunch of classic physique bodybuilders. I would say for you, depending on your build and frame, let's say you are an ectomorph. You're a real skinny guy. You're like me. You're going to want to train 6 times a week, each body part twice a week. Okay? Each body part twice a week if you are natural. Now, if you are a thicker, heftier guy, what I would recommend is doing something more along the lines that Dorian Yates would do, where he'd go each body part 1 time a week, like a 4-day split. Now, let's hear it from the professional bodybuilder, what he would recommend for someone just starting in classic physique bodybuilding.
Yeah, well, actually, I would say that it's not about the actual split, rather than the volume, the total volume, and the frequency you train each muscle group. So I agree with your first, with the first part of your answer. That try to train each muscle group like 2 times per week. That will be actually a good idea. And of course, don't train muscles that are gonna work the same day. How do you say that?
So if you're working your chest and you're hitting your
Yeah,
triceps as well, don't do that.
no, don't train chest today and train
Triceps
triceps
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
So
Yeah.
don't double back on the muscle 2 days in a row. Do not do chest and back, arms the next day.
Yeah, what you have to have in mind is that you have to give the muscles enough time to recover. That's what I'm trying to say.
Ah,
But yeah, that's it. You train twice per week, each muscle group, and you'll be fine. Probably around, I don't know, for a beginner, 10 to 15 working sets per muscle group will be enough.
and
If
10
you-
to 15 working sets does not include warm-up sets.
Yeah, no.
So your workout will be about, if you're doing 10 to 15 working sets, about 20 to 25 total sets. Just so people get this guy, he can get a little this fucking guy's probably like, what are these guys talking about at this point? I don't even
No,
I
that's
forgot. You'll be hitting 2 to 3 warm-up sets for your first 3 to 4 exercises, most likely. For your heavy exercise, you want to hit 2 to 3 warm-up sets, and then you do about 3 working sets. So it'll seem like you're doing 6 sets. This is his method. It's a genius method. He will go probably 2 to 3 warm-up sets of your first set, maybe 15 to 20 reps. Correct me if I'm wrong through any of
Okay,
this,
okay.
or if I'm just spewing out garbage.
Okay.
15 to 20 reps for your first set. Real light, warming up, getting in the movement. You're doing a chest press. Okay? Your second set will be a heavier set of 5 to 7 reps. Correct? Then you'll go up in weight and you'll go another 5 to 7 reps. And that's called a feeder set. AKA basically a warm-up set. Then he goes up in weight again and he hits his first working set. It'll be his heaviest set of 8 to 10 reps. So at least 3 reps higher than your previous warm-up sets with a higher weight too. Got it. And that's your first working set, that real heavy set. And then from there, would you care to explain?
Well, actually, I'm working like with top set and back off set. So the top set will be the heaviest set, and after that, the back off set is that you lower.
Backup set is
Exactly.
what that second working set would be called, is the backup set.
You decrease you decrease a little amount of the weight.
So you go down probably 1 peg in that weight.
Yeah, and you increase
The reps.
the reps, and you do it that way to keep the intensity high, because of course if in your first set you use a lot of energy to perform that set because it's heavy and the rep range is high, so probably what is gonna happen is that you won't be able to repeat it the same thing on the second working set. So that's
So
why.
that heaviest set,
Yeah.
you would not be able to repeat that the same. And that's a mistake a lot of people do, is by hitting that
Well,
same.
it's not a mistake, but actually, I think it's a more, I don't know.
Not a mistake, it's just a different method of training.
Yeah, but I consider this is the most like logical way to do it.
Yeah,
you
because
know?
if you're hitting your heaviest set, you're not going to repeat the heaviest set the
Exactly,
same
because
exact way you
you're
just
using
did.
you're using almost
But you're
all
not
your
doing
energy.
just one set to failure and calling it quits. You're actually doubling back and really getting.
Exactly. Is for example, if I'm saying that I'm gonna do my first set to failure, and if I did that set to failure, do you think I can repeat that same exercise, same weight set, same rep range? Do you think?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not, because because I said I did it till failure.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if I can do it again, I lie about the failure thing. You understand?
Yeah. Okay, so classic physique guy. You're totally a real person. What I would say, the moral of this, hit each muscle group twice a week, build that muscle. That's our recommendation. You can go with anything else that you please, but that's what this fucking guy recommends, and he's pretty big. So, okay. Next question. Will I get too bulky as a female if I'm strength training? No. No, you can do any kind of strength training as a woman and not get too bulky. It's going to depend on what you're eating and if you're taking exogenous hormones. If you are not taking hormones, you will probably not get too bulky. All you will do is tone up your arms. When people say, I want to get toned, specifically girls, if you say you want to get toned, if you're lifting weights, that'll get you toned. It's not the things like doing body weight boot camps that'll get you real toned and stuff. That'll just make you lose weight. Now, if you're going to say you want to get toned, you don't want to get too bulky, you can lift weights. You're not doing powerlifting. You're not doing full-on bodybuilding, even though you could do those kinds of training and still not get too bulky. I would 1000% recommend weight training. As a woman, if you just wanted to get toned, you will not get too bulky. Just watch your calories. Don't be eating 3,000 calories a day. I know you're probably not. Care to chime in on that?
Yeah, if you are a natural, it's not a bodybuilder, right?
No.
It's just like regular.
Miss, we're going to go ahead and say that you're not a bodybuilder.
Yeah, it's like just a regular person. So if you're natural, you don't have to worry about getting too big because that's not gonna happen. But yeah, actually, what you can do to feel better and to look better, the way you're saying, is to implement weight resistance training, weight training. You know, because that way you're gonna increase your muscle mass, you're gonna decrease your fat mass, but it doesn't mean you're gonna look like Rodney Coleman.
Yeah.
So, but actually, that's great for your health, for your muscle, for your bones.
And a lot of girls that ask me this question, they start doing about 30 minutes of cardio a day and more. You do not need to do that. We will assume you're not very much overweight, maybe 20 pounds above what you would like to be. You don't need to rip out an hour of cardio a day. That's going to detriment.
Okay. And yeah, if you're gonna, well, actually, we don't have that information, but if we are assuming that she's just like 20 pounds over the way she wants to be, so it's not necessary to kill yourself doing tons of cardio. You know, it just, if you are new to training, you just start with training and that's it. But if you are not new, probably you will implement your weight training and also like a form of diet, but it hasn't be like an hour of cardio or killing yourself doing cardio, because I know everybody says that cardio burns calories and all
So
that.
does weight training, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So does weight training. And weight training, you'll actually do something with the loose skin that you may end up having. So what you want to do is build that muscle under it so you don't have as much loose skin after your weight loss. Let's see. Next question. Totally a real person. Totally a real person here.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Mi llave, see?
Yeah.
Okay. Last question we'll hit with you because I am pouring sweat in here and we want to turn that AC back on, but we turned it off for the microphone.
Yeah. You know, Florida.
Let's measure out Esteban's shirt, see how much extra sweat has hit throughout this whole podcast. Dude, I'm fucking pouring sweat. Excuse my language.
No worries.
What motivated you to pursue bodybuilding and how did you get started in the fitness industry? This is Esteban's story.
Okay, yeah, that's well, actually, it's not that interesting story, but I will tell it. Anyways, I remember since I was a little kid, I've always loved sports, you know. And when I was a child, I was practicing lots of sport like football, basketball,
Football meaning soccer.
soccer. Yeah, sorry, soccer.
LS de Colombia.
Yeah, soccer, not football, soccer. Basketball, swimming, and I remember I spent like 7 years swimming, and that was something big in my life because that actually was the sport that introduced me to this competition mindset, you know, because when I was training swimming, when I was a swimmer, I trained to compete. So I remember I used to train like 6 days per week, and I remember I was doing that while I was at high school and middle school, so long time. But right after that, when I just finished my high school, that's called in Colombia bachillerato, and after that you go to the university. Well, in that time, I stopped doing that. I stopped swimming, and I went to a gym. Well, actually, I went to the gym while I was swimming because I wanted to get stronger, to swim better, you know, and faster. But it was like 2 months after that I stopped swimming because I changed it from swimming to uh, triathlon. I
So what?
triathlon.
Oh, triathlon.
Triathlon. Sorry, triathlon.
He did the triathlons.
Triathlon. Triathlon.
So you did triathlons after swimming.
Yeah, but just like for 2 months, bro. Yeah, I wasn't good at running. I suck. Yeah, I suck at it. At that. So, and I was already training at the gym. So, I quit triathlon, and I stay at the gym. But I felt like something was missing. You know,
When you were just at the gym.
yeah, I was training, and I was training like 6 days per week, but I just felt like something was missing, and that was the competition, you know, that was the feeling, the or actually to feel that I was doing it for a reason, that I was doing it and I was taking my body to the extreme. That's what I wanted because that's what I used to do when I was swimming, because I was doing to compete. So I start to see like which sports related to the weight training would be better for me, And of course, there was power lifting, Olympic weightlifting, bodybuilder, bodybuilding. Sorry, but I discovered bodybuilding catch my attention because I saw those big guys, Ronnie Coleman, uh, and those guys, Jay Cutler, Dennis, the Big Bad Wolf, Lee Priest. Those guys catch my attention, and one day I remember I said like I want to be like that. So that's when my bodybuilding journey started, and it was like I don't know, but like a long time ago. So I start training at the gym and getting stronger with the intention to compete one day. And after that, it was just a matter of time before I meet the guys that used to compete back in Colombia and they saw my potential. So that's it. I started to train for the competition, and the rest is just story.
The rest is history. Now you've stepped
History.
on the Olympian
Yeah,
stage.
exactly. That's how it works.
Well, that is awesome. We are going to go and turn the AC on before we both pass out. I hope that was a good Q&A for whoever asked these 3 questions that we absolutely went around and then finally hit.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And thank you for asking the questions if you were real people. Not AI. And we will see you at the next SOS Diiciendo y Haciendo podcast.
Yeah.
That's saying and doing podcast.
Yeah.
Me llamo Jota. My name is Joe. You can call me Jota o Jefe, just like Jay-Z. And your name?
Esteban Fuquene. No, just kidding. Just Esteban. IFBB Pro.
IFBB Pro Esteban Fuquene. Bravo.
Yeah, that's right.
With a B.
Yeah.
Don't get it confused. All right. See you next time.
See you next time.